Hello everyone, it is the Gaming Weasel back again with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be covering Octavia and Octavia Prime. Now, Octavia is one of the more interesting Warframes inside of the game. She is very inactive. She has a very inactive type of playstyle, but you're active sometimes, of course, when you have to cast your abilities. Now, also, her build varies a lot from person to person and it depends on what you want to do with her and how you want to play her. So, my build is not final, it's not the best build, it is the build that I use and that I think that works pretty much for 80% of the player base because it has everything you possibly would need for Octavia. Now, once we are talking about abilities, let's go to those and cover the passive, which is going to be that she gets and grants, of course, to her allies the inspiration buff that replenishes 1 energy per second for 30 seconds. So 30 energy in 30 seconds, which is pretty much okay, and it has a radius of 15 meters. This is not changeable by applying any range mods. It is just a base and a static value of 15 meters. So her first ability is called Mallet. Now, Mallet is basically a pinata that enemies shoot at and they basically inflict damage upon themselves. This damage multiplier slowly goes up and up and up depending on how many enemies are shooting it and of course on how strong the enemies are. This multiplier I think I have on my build around 3.25%, but this can go up to 8% if you apply all of your power strength mods, which I do not recommend, but you know, if you want, go for it. And yeah, basically this is one of her most, well, actually I really can't say one of her most used abilities. All of her abilities are used, so it's a very useful ability. But if you want to make this moving pinata, actually the stationary pinata move, you activate your second ability, which is Resonator. This basically creates a roller ball that picks up a mallet, and then it basically does a little bit of blast damage, which of course stuns enemies. You're gonna see the enemies literally stunned 90% of the time inside of the gameplay itself. This is Steel Path, of course, Titan on Saturn, another strongest level enemies, but you get the gist of it. If you're playing Star Chart, you're pretty much gonna have a clean sweep with Octavia, so you don't have to worry about it. And moving on, her third ability, which is Metronome. Metronome casts, it is a buff ability. Now, if you, for example, jump in rhythm, you will get a speed buff. If you crouch, you will get the Nocturne buff, or basically you're going to be invisible, like you see me in 100% of the gameplay. Then firing will give you a multi-shot bonus, and then melee swings in the rhythm are going to be a melee damage bonus. So that is very, very nice. Now, survival missions with Octavia, most of the time you're gonna use the Nocturne buff. This also gives you armor bonus, gives you, I think it's 33% for my build, but basically considering you're gonna be invisible, it doesn't really matter that much because they're not gonna kill you. Keep this in mind, you're invisible, and you're not invincible, you're not in the rift, for example, like Loki is, not Loki, Limbo, who cannot take damage. You can take damage, especially by AoE weapons, so be careful in that aspect. Then her fourth ability is Amp. This draws the decibel level, of the sound in this area, so for example, the more noise there are, the higher the buff damage is gonna be, the higher the multiplier is gonna be. If you shoot your loud weapon, it is going to be even higher. If you, for example, shoot a bow, it's not going to be high because, of course, bows are silent. So basically, this is a damage multiplier for all of your abilities. And also, when you cast Mallet in the amp radius or the amp area, I guess, it will give a 200% damage and range bonus to Mallet. So that was very, very cool. Now, basically what you can do here is If you're playing with a squad, it's going to be very good because basically your squad's almost always going to shoot and you're almost always going to be in one area if you're playing survival. So your damage multiplier from amp is going to go very high up. Now, when you're in the nocturne state, your weapons do not turn silent. At least that's what I've noticed, so correct me if I'm wrong here. So if you get a high ammo count weapon, for example the Super Vandal or the Soma or any other sort of gun weapon, don't use explosives or anything like that because they're slower firing. In the gameplay you see me using the Tenant Envoy, but that's mostly just to take care of the acolytes, but this is sort of like a beginner guide, so you're not gonna meet acolytes, so you don't have to worry about that. So you can increase that multiplier even more. Now, that is the Warframe itself. Those are the abilities. The build is something like this. So for the aura, we have corrosive projection, of course. This is gonna lower the enemy's armor. That's really cool. You can put energy siphon here as well if you want to get just that bit of extra energy, because of course you're casting your abilities multiple times over, so it's going to be very good. That 1 energy per second is going to be very, very good, of course, and alongside energy siphon, so that's gonna even make it greater. Now, damage wise, as you can see, my power strength is not that high, it's 110. Now, why is that? That is because Octavia can stack, or sorry, not stack, but she can, I actually kind of forgot the word right now, scale, there you go, she can scale up infinitely, so as long as your abilities are active, you're gonna be doing more and more and more damage over time. So you can go in two sort of directions in this way. You can go for more duration, for example with Prime Continuity, Narrow-Minded, Constitution, Augur Message, you can do that. For more extra long-term damage, or you can basically put, what I did right now is I put Narrow-Minded, Prime Continuity for duration, then Stretch, Augur Reach, and Overextended for range, and then I put Transient Fortitude and Power Drift for power strength. And Streamline, I should probably get it out of there because you're honestly not going to need it that much, but it's okay. And Prime Flow is very needed, believe me, because you're casting your abilities multiple times, so it's very, very useful. Now, a couple of things you can change out. You can change out Overextended for example, let's say Vitality, or you can change out for Adaptation if you want to go in that direction. Narrow-Minded, I wouldn't recommend you change out, but you can. And Transient Fortitude can be changed out, for example, let's say with Blind Rage, but then your efficiency goes down the drain. So Streamline is not as needed, but I would prefer you have it, or at least Fleeting Expertise. So basically, this build is customizable to all hell, so you can basically make it and customize it to your playstyle as much as you possibly like. And of course, that is the same for every single Warframe. So basically, what the gameplay goes up to. She's mostly used in survival missions or maybe defense mission. I wouldn't really recommend her that much in other types of missions. Interception maybe, but capture missions are, you know, not, I guess, her cup of tea. And also extermination missions are pretty okay, but you're always on the move. I prefer her as a camping Warframe, so, you know, that's kind of my playstyle, and I think most of people's playstyle, so survival, defense, and interception would be pretty okay with her. And basically, cast all 4 of your abilities, go dark as the Nocturne buff, I guess, and then basically that's it. Cast your abilities over and over again, and there you go. You don't basically need to even have a weapon with her, you can just play her like that. So basically, that is Octavia. I have nothing more to say here. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, leave a like, a comment, and subscribe for more content. I try to upload a lot of videos and trying to grow my channel to up to 5k subs, and I will see you guys on the next one. The Gaming Weasel over and out.